This is a Kahan TV Sports Break. So big news in Laker Nation. Jim Buss and Mitch Kupchak out. Magic Johnson in, running the Lakers now on orders of Jeanie Buss. Mm-hmm. And now there's a big mess in the Lakers. Explain it to us, Vlad.
Well, yes, according to just recent reports, Jim Buss and his other son Jesse Buss tried to maybe get some kind of coup and try to take back the franchise. It's kind of not clear if that really is the case, but whatever it is, Jeanie blocked it in court, and she's still the basically controlling the franchise. She's the majority owner, I should say. So yes, it's chaos. It's chaotic. Nobody knows what's going on, but it's not a good look for the Lakers. But as far as Jim Buss, losing control of like the basketball side and Mitch Kupchak getting fired, I think these are steps that needed to be made. Something needed to change in the Lakers top brass. Things were not really working out for them the last couple of years. They gave it a good shot with Jim Buss' experiment of him running the basketball side, and nothing really happened.
Hold on one moment there, Vlad. Listen, so the last time you were here, we had a segment. We talked about the Lakers. We didn't really want to do a segment on the Lakers. It was kind of a quiet segment. It was like nothing really going on. The Lakers are losing.
Sure.
And they're kind of just resigned to get one of their top 3 picks and move on with life the same way it's been going for them. Mm-hmm. And we're just resigned to the fact that Jim Buss and Mitch Kupchak were going to be there for the draft and continue on with this process of all these players that they've been accumulating, young players, and try to rebuild a good team with all that. Mm-hmm. And they were going to trust them. They've already trusted them to come this far.
Right.
And it's not like last week you were saying anything was... I mean, we knew Magic Johnson was now in the franchise. We didn't know he was going to run the team. Mm-hmm. We didn't know he was going to take the position of the general manager. But it's not like you were clamoring for that either. You seemed fine with how things were going. You said they weren't tanking. That's what you said last week. I asked you, were the Lakers tanking? You're like, no.
No, they're not tanking. They're bad.
But now they traded Lou Williams away, apparently it was a move, probably just because, yes, they know they're bad, and there's no reason to keep a player like Lou Williams when they could get something for him, and like a first-round pick and some more salary relief. What I heard was that they traded him for the sole reason of tanking because he was the only guy trying to win games for them.
Absolutely, that's a part of it.
They don't need to win games right now because they want to keep that pick. They really didn't get anything for Lou Williams. Come on. They got a first-round pick from Houston, a late first-round pick.
Well, I mean, how much do you think you're actually going to get for Lou Williams? I mean, how much do you think his value is?
He's a strong player. He's a 6th man of the year candidate. He's probably going to win 6th man. He was the Lakers' leading scorer and what you called their best player.
He is, but this was a horrific team. I mean, they're a 19-win team. And Lou Williams is not a guy that, yes, he's a good player, but he's not a guy that's going to get you top-notch draft picks. He's going to be an expiring contract at the end of next season. There's about 25 games left in this season. You're only going to get so much for a guy like that. He doesn't make a lot of money. He makes about $7-8 million a year. There's only so much you're going to get for a guy like Lou Williams. Yes, of course it's true. They do want to hold on to the number 3 pick this year. They don't want to lose it, or else what is all this losing for? If you lose all your, if you win only 20 plus games in a year, whatever, 23, 24 games, and you end up not losing your possibility of getting a number, one of the top 3 picks, what is it all for? It's a wasted season completely if you don't at least get some kind of reward for being this bad. So, yes, I could understand that.
Well, one more question for you, Vlad. It seemed like the Lakers were gearing up to finally start making some trades with all these chips they have. And do you think Jim Buss and Mitch Kupchak deserve the opportunity to go through with that process and try to build a winner? Because they already come this far. It's kind of like they pulled the plug on their plan, and now they gave it to Magic Johnson.
Right.
Like they trust Magic more to do that part of the process than them. It's kind of, I would be upset if I was Mitch Kupchak, and I was invested in this, and all the time I spent drafting D'Angelo Russell and
Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram,
and what are we gonna do with them? And they could have probably made some really cool trades they probably will at some point. At some point, they're going to do a shake-up. I mean, I hear Paul George's name thrown around. I don't know if he's what the Lakers want, personally, in my opinion, but that's another story.
The Lakers will want anything that gives them a top-notch talent. So as long as they don't have to give up a lot to get him. If George comes as a free agent, even better. They don't have to trade key players on this young core that they don't want to trade. That's one of the reasons they didn't get Cousins, because they didn't want to give up Brandon Ingram. According to sources, it was available in a trade with the Lakers. There were discussions. I don't know how far those discussions went, but the sticking point was Brandon Ingram, who is a rookie that the Lakers value highly, and they think he's going to be a player going forward, but they didn't want to give him up to get Cousins. I could understand that, and according to other sources, that was the final straw for Jeanie Buss, who felt that they needed star talent and need to start accumulating good players on this team, and Cousins would have been that first piece. And since they couldn't get him, that was the final straw, in the Mitch Kupchak and Jim Buss era. As far as Mitch Kupchak goes, yes, I think he was given a raw deal. He's been with the Lakers in some way or another for 36 years, consecutive years, and he was part of putting numerous championship teams together for the Lakers in the last 5-10 years. So he got a raw deal. Jim Buss, I have no sympathy for. He was unqualified to do this job. He doesn't deserve this job. And at least with Magic Johnson, he is an NBA lifer. He understands basketball. He understands the game. Yes, he doesn't have any executive experience. And our GM, Rob Pelinka, doesn't have any GM experience. But I think with Magic's name alone, there will be some more respectability to the franchise that he's running things, instead of Jim Buss, who had no respect amongst anyone. So it's a risk. It's going to be interesting to find out what Magic can do, but I think it's a good risk. It's better than what they've had before. And Rob Pelinka is an interesting hire. He's a sports agent who's now turned into a GM. So we'll see. Obviously, these are things that are not. There's no real great precedent for this. There's not a lot of sports agents that become general managers. So it will be interesting what Lakers can do with those two guys running their team.
So you feel bad for Mitch Kupchak, though?
Yes, if that's what you got out of everything I said, yes, I do feel bad for Mitch, because let's not forget that he's been part of the Lakers for a long time. He was Jerry West's pupil, and then he took over after. I mean,
because really, you got your pulse. You're stationed in Los Angeles. It's not like Laker fans were clamoring for Mitch Kupchak to get fired. That wasn't in
a lot of guys like Mitch. A lot of fans like Mitch.
Ago.
Right, a lot of fans like Mitch, but some did want him fired because they thought he had, he kind of got thrown in with the whole Jim Buss thing. They kind of felt they were like connected at the hip somehow because So, and maybe they were, maybe they weren't. I don't know, but I think it's a good thing that sometimes change is good. Now, I don't know how it's all going to work out under the Magic Johnson regime, but I think they needed to do something because they've become a laughing stock, and and this is not what Laker fans are used to. They're used to the team at least competing for playoffs, for championships, and they needed to do something to, get that whole loser organization thing, out of the way, because that's been one of the major problems.
So Magic Johnson is in now, and what we're hearing is they want stars. He needs to help sign free agents as stars or make trades for stars.
Right.
Whatever you got to do. And I'm hearing Paul George's name getting thrown around because his contract is going to run out in Indiana at some point, and it's going to be up there for the Lakers to trade for Paul George. But what do you think of that for the Lakers? A guy like Paul George, do you think it would be enough, or would that just make them kind of a mid-table team that kind of could make the playoffs,
right?
And that's about it?
I mean, Paul George is a terrific player. He kind of had a down year this year. He was better last year, but I mean, yes, the Lakers should definitely get anybody that will help them, in the long run. And Paul George is one of the better forwards in the league. He can help bring some respectability to the franchise, and maybe with him there, other guys might want to be interested if the team really starts to show an improvement. Like, instead of like 20 wins, they start winning 45 games, let's say, just with George there. And if they keep that, certain young pieces together, Who knows? So yes, I think I would be all in on getting Paul George as long as they don't have to give up everybody just to get him, because then what's the point? So yes, I'm all in on George. Definitely think would be a good.
So you're in for taking small steps. You just want the Lakers to become at least a playoff team now.
Well, it's not. It can't all be done. You can't become a championship team overnight unless
Well, they could potentially waste all these draft picks and players and chips they have just to become a playoff team. Then they'll have nothing left. That's the thing. Are you giving up too much to get just Paul George? Well, is Paul George the type of guy who could lead your team deep into the playoffs in the Western Conference? He did it in the East,
right,
in Indiana,
right.
But I don't know if that necessarily translates. The West is the different animal. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
You people in the East, I don't know if you're anybody watching in the East, sorry, but the basketball is over here in the West. These guys have one team maybe.
Right. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying, but. It just depends, like I said, what they have to give up to give George. Are they going to have to trade for him, or is he going to come as a free agent? I mean, if he comes as a free agent and they get to keep these young guys, why not? Why not? Yes, sign him. Try to get him. I mean, if he's interested in coming here because he's a hometown guy, he grew up in Los Angeles. Sure, great. I mean, and maybe
he's going to want a max contract.
Sure, you're going to have to pay him. Of course, he's one of the top. He's a top tier player.
Give Paul George a max contract.
Yes, he's a top tier player. Yes, you do. You have to. You have to spend money to get good players here. That's the thing. And maybe with him there, they could get other good players as well. If they start showing.
He's a top tier player, but is he really the Laker type of player? Because you want a player who could not one of the best players in the league, but the best. Well, he's not. I mean,
they're not getting LeBron. They're not probably getting Durant. So what does that leave them? I mean, they can't. They're not. Who can they get? I mean,
what can Paul George lead them to? What is the limit of a Paul George-led team?
It just depends who he's playing with, who's there, how good are they going to be? I mean, yes.
Apparently, no one better than Paul George if he's the best player on the team. So, well, I don't know. It wouldn't.
George is at least right in the top 10, 15 players in the league as it is right now. So that means there's only 14 other players at most, I think, that are better than he is. I mean, I would have to do a whole list just to see it. But yes, no, I'm all for getting George in any scenario that doesn't involve the Lakers completely just gutting the whole team just to get him. Other than that, yes, I'm all in on George. Get him. That will improve the team going forward, and that might make other star players interested in coming here. So,
all right, one last thing before we end this Lakers segment. For this season and what's going on the court at Staples Center for the Lakers, what is there to watch for the Lakers for this year? Is there any reason to watch this team?
Just if you want to see the development and how these young guys are playing, that's the only reason to watch. How Russell's doing, how Randall's doing, how Ingram's doing, how Larry Nance is looking. All these young guys that we have, if you care about their development and if you want to see if they have a real future with the Lakers, yeah, watch the last 20 or so games, see what these guys are all about, and see if you like the direction of the team. I think that's the only reason to watch. Obviously, there's nothing else. What else could you, when you watch a 19-win team, what else would you watch them for? You're not watching for anything else, but to see what how these possible young guys could possibly do in the future. So. That's the only reason to watch.
Right. Well, Vlad, thanks so much for stopping into Kahan TV Studios. You're always welcome. If you ever need a place to crash or anything like that.
Crash right in the studios. I don't know. It'd be fantastic.
Well, don't sleep out by the dumpster. Come inside, Anyways, Vlad, we love having you. Thanks so much for coming in. Till the next time. That's all for Sports Break today. We'll see you next time.
I think we did pretty good. Oh
no. All right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think
it's okay.
I think